1 in 4 people over the age of 65 fall each year. And the reasons for that would be weak muscles, poor balance, and limited flexibility. Those are the major risk factors. Welcome to Aging in Style with Lori Williams, the podcast all about finding the silver lining no matter what life throws your way. I'm Lori Williams, an award-winning senior living expert, author, educator, and caregiver to my husband, Mark. Join me as I share insights, tips, and personal stories to help you navigate the world of senior housing, discover ways to pay for care, advocate for your loved ones, and most importantly, learn how to thrive, not just survive, as you age. Hi, welcome to Aging in Style. Today, we are diving into something that we all know we should do. And many of us don't do it, including myself, because we don't absolutely love it. And we always make excuses. Time's always a big one. I don't have time to do it. And what is it that we don't want to do? And it is exercise. But we're not talking about exercising to get that, six-pack ab look or run a marathon. It's just truly about moving our bodies to protect our independence, prevent falls, and stay strong. And this is for ourselves and for our loved ones. So I was on, I think it was Instagram the other day, and I saw this quote by Dick Van Dyke, who is an absolute legend, but it really resonated with me. And this is what he said. At 30, I used to exercise to look good. At the age of 50, to be fit. At 70, not to be padded in a bed. At 80, to be able to live without assistance. And now at 99, I do it out of pure defiance. I absolutely love that because it shows how our priorities change through the years. So, in my early 20s, which was in the 80s, I was all about the Jane Fonda aerobics tapes. Probably many of you remember those. But it was all about looking good because I wanted to look good in a bathing suit. So even though I didn't love doing that exercise, I did it because I was trying to look good. And as I got older, it has been really more about health and about balance and about not falling. And I see how that has changed through the years, my whole reason for exercising. So a little quick personal story for me, I just turned 61 last week. And I am the caregiver, as I mentioned earlier, for my husband, Mark. If you don't listen to the podcast regularly, he had 4 strokes on Christmas Day, 2022, and he's pretty severely disabled. And as a caregiver, which we've talked about in many other episodes of the podcast, there's a lot of stress that comes with being a caregiver. And caregivers tend not to take care of ourselves. We put ourselves last. And so again, why exercise is so important. So not only am I the caregiver for my husband, but I'm also the sole provider, breadwinner for my family. And I have 1 kid still in college. So a lot of stress. And, it's easy for me to make that excuse that I'm too busy, I don't have time. But when I turned 61, I just kind of had one of those moments where I'm like, girl, you need to stay healthy for your husband, for your family, for yourself. And, like I said, I didn't love exercise. And for me, and I just said this to my brother, who is a big time, he works out, he's in the gym and all that. I'm intimidated walking into a gym. I don't know where to start. I'll just kind of go get on a treadmill because that's sort of my comfort zone. I don't know. I just feel I don't get the vibe there for me. It just doesn't work. And that's okay. Not everyone is, a gym person. The goal of fitness, of trying to stay fit, especially once we are older, it's truly staying mobile, preventing falls, and keeping your energy up. Because as we age, our chance of falling goes up exponentially because we start losing that the strength in our core. We start losing muscle tone. A lot of times people get slumped over. We start getting poor posture. And that happens to a lot of us, even younger people, because there is something they call tech neck now, where, everyone's always looking on their phone or on a computer, and it puts us in just the worst position possible for our posture, for our neck, for our shoulders. And I'm afraid that's going to cause issues for younger people or for any of us as we age. We have talked about this before, but 1 in 4 people over the age of 65 fall each year. And the reasons for that would be, like I just mentioned, weak muscles, poor balance, and limited flexibility. Those are the major risk factors. And I have noticed as I'm getting a little bit older, not old, but a little bit older, that I am, I noticed like in an exercise last night that like my right leg is not as flexible as my left leg. And I could do splits at 40. So I was kind of like surprised. I'm like, gosh, why am I suddenly getting stiff? So I'm really glad that I am doing this exercise now. But some of the movements that are really helpful, like for balance, Tai Chi, as we talked about in a podcast with my aunt, we interviewed her and she was amazing talking about Tai Chi. She's 80 and you would never believe it. And she has wonderful posture and balance and flexibility, all these things that have come from doing Tai Chi. Yoga is another good one for balance, as is Pilates. Strength is huge. So all of these, Tai Chi and Pilates, address strength as well. But you could also do strength training through weights. You can do it through resistance bands, body weight exercises, flexibility, of course, any kind of stretching. Yoga helps with flexibility. Tai Chi again, Pilates. And then endurance during the aerobic training is so important too. And that could be walking, swimming, dancing. And again, Tai Chi, as my aunt said, that one covers everything. Pilates, not so much the aerobic, so you still need to get your aerobic exercise in, but it would do balance, strength, and flexibility. Definitely go back if you haven't, and if you have an interest in learning more about fall prevention for yourself or for a loved one. We've done podcast episodes on making sure your house is safe, whether your house is, your home you still live in, or if you're in senior living. We've also had, like I said, my aunt on who talked about Tai Chi and the benefits of it. So we'll make sure we have links in the show notes for the past podcasts that we've done on fall prevention, home safety, and Tai Chi. So, as I said, I have never been a huge fan of exercise or just haven't found something that I love. And I feel like maybe I have found it now. So as I said, turned 61, and I've been thinking about it since I turned 60. You've got to do something because there's too many people relying on me, right? I have to stay healthy and strong. So a friend of mine started doing Pilates, and she told me that she was like me. Neither one of us could stick to exercise, didn't enjoy it, could make a good excuse of laying on the couch watching Netflix and not going to exercise. But she told me that she had started going to Pilates and she loved it and that it was addictive. So I just figured, what the heck? I'm going to try it. There was a free class. I went and did it and I loved it. I am hooked. It's a small class environment, so it's not intimidating to me. There were people my age and older, and there were younger people too. It just goes by so fast. So you do a class and it's a 50-minute class and it feels like it was 15 minutes. So that's my kind of exercise. However, I feel it throughout my body and I feel sore, which is great because I know I'm actually working some muscles I haven't worked. So, you don't need to love all types of exercise. Like I said, walking to a gym is not my vibe. I can't do it. But you need to find something that works for you, that feels good and keeps you moving. And the big message here is it is never too late to start. And even the smallest of steps count. And we've talked about this before. If you are 70 and you haven't gotten up and walked much in years, just walk out to your mailbox and walk back in. Just the smallest, or walk laps around your house. The smallest little bit counts. So get some movement going on. So what kind of exercise might be right for you? I mean, there's all types of exercises that involve, different movements and have different benefits. So, of course, walking, I think every doctor tells us, that's probably the best exercise for anyone to do. Just get out and walk. It's low impact and it's great for building your endurance. It's great aerobic exercise. So that is an easy exercise for most people to just start walking. And you don't have to walk 5 miles. You can start off, like I said, walking to your mailbox, walking around your house. Just get your body moving. Tai Chi, as my aunt explained in the last podcast, it's excellent for balance, for flexibility, for strength, for calming. It's kind of everything all in one. Pilates, which is great exercise for your core strength. That's really important. They work a lot on building your core, which is going to keep you from falling, working on your balance, making sure you have stability, working on the muscles in your back, all the things that we don't typically exercise. So that can help us stay strong and fall free, because that's the goal here. We don't want to fall, right? Water aerobics, that's a wonderful exercise. It's easy on your joints, and that can be a lot of fun too. Dancing, line dancing. I just did line dancing Friday night, and I'm telling you, that's a workout, and it's so much fun. Strength training, resistance bands, light weights. Like jazzercise is a huge one too, and that's dancing and exercise, so that's a good one. Yoga, which really works on your flexibility and strength, and also mindfulness. And then, of course, chair exercises are good for those who have limited mobility. You can still exercise, so there's always a way. And I go into so many senior communities and also into senior centers, and I see groups of people doing chair exercises, and they have weights in their arms. They're doing some stuff. So here's the next question that people have, or objection, I should say, is that it's expensive to exercise. And you know what? It can be expensive. Gym memberships can be very costly. Pilates class, the one I'm doing, it is expensive. I'm not going to lie, but there are ways you can exercise on a budget and even free. So there are different programs available, especially if you are on Medicare. There's the Silver Sneakers, which I believe is on some of the Medicare Advantage plans. And those are free fitness memberships that you can enjoy. So you would have to look into that with your Medicare and see which gyms provide that. But I think sometimes YMCAs will provide that. Local senior centers. My local senior center is $10 a year to belong to. And you can go and use the gym equipment there for free. Now, there are classes that are offered like chair exercise and Tai Chi and other classes, and there is a fee, but I don't think it's that substantial. So, but just know that. Check out your local senior center to see what's provided there. The YMCA. And some YMCAs, or maybe all of them, have the sliding scale memberships, and there's tons of different classes. I know our local YMCA, there's a huge line dancing group who were attending this party I was at Friday, and they are incredible line dancers. I was just trying to follow along and keep up. There's also YouTube channels, and you go to YouTube, there's everything. Because my daughter was saying to me, she's like, I want to go to Pilates with you. And I said, let me send you some YouTube free classes that you can go to, because I'm not paying your membership. I know that's mean, but she's in college. She'll be fine. But there's tons of things out there on YouTube. There was one that was Grow Young, Paula B Fitness for over 50. That one looked pretty interesting. HasFit was one, HAS Fit. And then there was one, Jessica Valent Pilates. There's a ton of Pilates ones. There's Tai Chi. There's everything you can find on YouTube. So that is one way you can do it for absolutely free. And then just walking. If you don't want to walk by yourself, get a friend or get a group of friends. And then you're getting that movement and you're making that connection with someone else. So, and it's free to go walk around. And it's spring now, and I'm in the Dallas area, so right now the weather is lovely. It won't be lovely for long. It'll be 100 degrees by probably June, and not so great for walking. But, you can always go early in the morning, or I don't know if they still have this, but I know there was a big group that used to do mall walking. They'd go inside malls. I don't think malls are so popular these days. Just thought about that. I know there's like a lot of outdoor shopping centers now. So, but anyhow, if you have a mall, maybe there's, an opportunity for mall walking in there. So you're in air condition. Maybe, I know we have a community activity center that's not super expensive to join. Has like, gym and a pool and everything, but it has like a nice area that you can walk laps in the air condition. So there's a lot of things out there that are available. We just have to look, and we have to get to the point where we realize our health, and I'm speaking for myself, health, being strong, being flexible, having good balance, all those things are more important than, laying on my bed watching Netflix. So, because that's been kind of my downtime. I'm going to do true confessions here, y'all. So, I work a lot of hours. And so kind of my thing has been to sort of chill in front of the TV. But you know what? What is an hour out of my schedule? Right now, I'm just doing 3 times a week. It's how I'm, start off slow with exercise. So I'm doing 3 times a week for an hour. And then there's a lot of time in the day. And so and again, speaking to myself, have to put those excuses away and focus on what's important. So, I personally may never absolutely love working out, although right now I really am enjoying Pilates, but I love what it's giving to me. It's going to give me the strength, energy, resilience. And it also gives you peace of mind. And people tell you this all the time, especially if you're a caregiver. They always say, oh gosh, you need to take care of yourself. And the way to get rid of stress is to exercise. And I think we all know that, by moving our bodies, exercising, it's going to help us with depression, anxiety, stress. We all know that, but we all, or many of us, can always come up with a reason for an excuse not to do it. And I get it. If you are the caregiver and you don't have any relief, anyone to come and sit with your loved one so you can exercise, I get it. It is hard. I do have the benefit of having a caregiver to help out. And then my son also helps out. So I get that. So this is kind of my little speech to caregivers. Try to just move your body some. Just walk around your house. Do some laps around your house. Just get yourself moving. Like I said, just the little tiniest bit you can do will help. And, it's all about you staying healthy and strong. Just exercise is not about, or moving your body. The movement is not about being perfect and going to the gym and doing it all the ways that we think we're supposed to do it. It's just really about showing up for yourself and getting your body moving in whatever way works for you and that you enjoy. So I'm going to ask right now, I'm going to ask listeners, share what kind of movement you love or are trying, and just kind of share that with us. And maybe we can all sort of encourage each other on to stay on this journey of getting healthier and stronger, and making sure that we are not going to be falling when we're 65 and that we're going to be our best and healthiest selves that we can be. Like Dick Van Dyke. I personally don't want to be in a bed at 70 unable to get up or having to use a walker. Some things can't be prevented, but if I can, I'm going to do everything I can to prevent ailments when I'm older. I think that's a gift to ourselves that we all should do. And maybe change our thought process on exercise as exercise bad and make it exercise good, because it's really about doing something good for ourselves and for our future self. Hope that makes sense. Anyhow, do check out the show notes. We're going to have the past episodes on fall prevention and creating safe environments. Check out some of those YouTube recommendations and fitness programs and, see if there's something that might work for you. And we'll also have the episode Tai Chi and Balance with Edna Silva, who's my aunt, who is amazing and did a wonderful job telling us about Tai Chi and her journey with it. Okay, that's what I have for you. I hope that you will share this podcast with your friends and family and get out there and start exercising. And like I said, let me know what you're doing. If you're doing something, I really want to encourage you, and I want to know there's other people out there changing things just like I'm trying to, doing my best over here. Anyhow, thanks for listening to the podcast. Please go and subscribe if you haven't already so you can listen to our episodes every Friday. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.